Meditate within eternity. Don't stay in the mind. Your thoughts are like a child fretting near its mother's breast, restless and afraid, who, with a little guidance, can find the path of courage. Meditate within eternity. This is not an instruction about how to meditate. This is rather an instruction on how not to meditate. We do not meditate within eternity. We meditate within little things, little patterns, little selves, little images, as if we are afraid of going to the real, as if we have given up on the possibility of eternity, as if we have surrendered to the idea that the infinite is impossible. So let me just settle down with the limited, finite, even if it offers me no real rest, but just momentary consolations. Allah is saying, do not make anything the center of your meditation, because anything, doesn't matter what it is, would always be limited, and the limited simply won't comfort you. It can entertain you for a while. You can toy with it. But lasting peace won't come through the little, through the boundaried, through that which can be captured in thought. Obviously, you are restless because you want the support of something bigger than yourself. And that which is finite, that which can be captured in your thought, is obviously smaller than yourself. It is so small that it can be captured even in your little brain. That which can be captured in your little brain, how will it comfort you? That which is so small that it can occur in your thoughts, how will you live by it? Allah has taken the image of a little child, who is complaining and restless and fretting near the mother's breast. The mother's breast is a symbol for that which the child is looking for. The place of love, the place of nourishment, the place of warmth, the place of closeness. And the child is complaining and seeking and searching without knowing that it is already in the mother's arms. It does not need to go anywhere else. It's well positioned. It's just that it's trying too much. And it has so little confidence in the mother. All that the child needs, Allah says, is a little guidance. A little guidance. Somebody just needs to gently tap the head of the child and turn it towards the source. And that's all. The rest of the body might anyway be rightly placed. It is the head that keeps turning to other directions. Somebody needs to becalm the head. Caress the head a little. That will put an end to the unnecessary wandering of the eyes, to the ceaseless search of the mind. We are always in the mother's arms. But to remain restless is always a privilege available to us. The mother can bring the baby to herself, to the breast, but even she can't force the baby to be attentive, to see, to suckle. That is the baby's prerogative. If the baby decides that the world is a little too attractive for him, if the baby decides that he wants to keep looking elsewhere, even the mother is helpless. She has all the power, but she won't force the baby. Lalla is saying that the way of restlessness is our own choice. Do not blame the world that it carries you away. The world does not come and petition to you. The world does not come and force you. The world can at most display itself. Whether or not you are captivated by the display is your own decision. It's a matter of yourself. So you can't blame the world. And neither can you blame God, the mother, because God has done everything that God can possibly do. What more do you expect from the poor fellow? He has given birth to you. He is always carrying you. He has never refused anything to you. So if remaining in God's lap and God's arms, you are still enamored by the world, then it's neither the world's mistake nor God's. It's your own deliberate choice. Something that you mistakenly call as free will. The mind will always tell you that There are horizons to be covered, distances to be run. Stuff to be obtained. It is not the mind's wise or compassionate counsel. It is the mind's helplessness. The mind must tell you something that makes the mind necessary for you. The mind needs activity for its own survival. That is why Allah says, don't stay in the mind. Not because the mind is evil, just because the mind is not you. Your nature and the tendency of the mind just do not go well with each other. They are immiscible. The mind needs frantic activity. The mind needs fear. The mind needs agitation. The mind needs boisterous energy. And you are troubled by all of these. Whatsoever is nourishment for the mind is the same thing that enfeebles you. As the mind grows stronger and bigger, you find that you are diminishing. It is another matter that a bigger mind, a fatter mind, is ultimately not good even for the mind itself. But the mind, the fool that it is, takes too long to realize that. For very long periods of time, the mind keeps believing that if it gets fatter and bigger and more armored and more knowledgeable, then it will get peace. Then it will reach home. It keeps doing all the wrong things, and if you stay in the company of the mind, you too find that you are doing all the stupid things. Leave the mind to its own fate. You stay a little away. If you are away, that will help the mind. If you are with the mind, that destroys both of you. If you can manage to maintain a certain distance from the mind, then there is nothing healthier than this for the mind. The mind can have all the mischievous intentions of its own, but it has really no energy of its own. The energy comes to the mind only from you. And if you refuse to provide that energy, if you refuse to maintain that kind of contact with the mind, then the mind's intentions fall flat. That helps the mind. It's a strange thing. You are helping someone by staying away from him. Clear?
The lines are very blurred. The very tool to even say that I am away from the mind is the suppose I'm playing a game of squash. I won't even see when again I am with it. And that brings me even more frustration. But that frustration itself makes me even more inside the mind.
It is indeed difficult to consciously know and point out when you are away from the mind, because when you are away from the mind, then there is no need to take the trouble of pointing anything out. It's anyway a very peaceful position you are in. And when you are attached to the mind, identified with it, a partner in all its mischiefs, then there are telltale signs. Your energy becomes self-destructive. It becomes evident to everyone that you have turned a mad monkey. How can you miss it? You need not know when you are away from the mind. Just be careful about the moments when you are firmly riveted to the mind. And those moments are so easy to detect. You will smash something. You will collide with somebody. You will not be able to do anything that requires harmony and application. Your thoughts and your shots will go awry. There will be no rhythm in your movements, in your game. There will be a great deal of randomness and chaos in your movements. And all of that is very hard to miss. These are very clear signs and very gross signs. Your voice will change. Your eyes will change. Your body language will change. Of course, your thoughts will change. You'll start forgetting a few things. And a lot of things that usually don't come to you in your moments of calmness will start coming to you. How can you miss then? The facts are now evident. You have slipped. And everybody can see that.
But how to regain back by just acknowledging it? Because even if it is seen, but the flow has come.
It depends on how much you love yourself. If you don't love yourself, then you can tolerate any harm coming your way. When you are riveted to the mind, you incur a lot of losses. You invite a lot of hurt. The one who is sensitive becomes alert upon receiving the first loss. He says, something bad just happened to me. I am sure I am not in the right condition. So he shrugs the mind away. He says, oh, I had lost it. In my moment of deep unconsciousness, this thing had become attached to me. I must cast it aside. If I don't cast it aside, there would be more losses. But this can be said only by that person who does not like even the first loss. If you do not like the first loss, if you love yourself so much, then the second loss won't happen. But if you don't love yourself, then you will keep on adjusting to all the losses that you suffer, all the insults and the humiliations and the defeats that you go through.
The time between two defeats, there is time. When one defeat happens, it is always, there is this determination and there is this promises or plans or there is this honest sincerity seems. But
There are 20 defeats between any two defeats. It's just that you don't love yourself deeply enough to see and to be woken up by those defeats. The two defeats that you're talking of are colossal defeats.
that I see.
And you see only that which is grossly colossal. There are 20 other defeats in between, but you take them as minor. So you gloss over them.
Cover cut like.
Don't even pay attention to them because you have become used to being defeated. You're not woken up, not shaken up by the little defeat. The one who is shaken up by the little defeat. And what am I calling as defeat? Displacement from the center is what I'm calling as a defeat. A loss of composure is what I'm calling as defeat. A break in your meditativeness is what I'm calling as defeat. The one who is sensitive, the one who loves himself, will not tolerate even a small defeat. So he does not then have to go through the pain of tolerating a second defeat or a bigger defeat. Love your peace. That is the same as loving God. Love yourself. And the moment the slightest harm comes towards you, pinch yourself and say, boss, you must have been dreaming. You couldn't have been deeply conscious. Where is your awareness? Where are you? The punishment meted out to those who do not get shaken up by little losses is that they have to incur great losses.
One more reason why great losses happen is because we always tend to think that there is a chance or there is a option of not to be shaken up.
If you were so intelligent and so skilled that you could win against even great enemies, having suffered great losses, then why would you lose to small enemies who can inflict only small losses upon you? It is indeed heroic in a game of squash to be down 9-0 and yet win. But you must firstly ask yourself, if you indeed had the game to win from such a hopeless position, why would you firstly come to that hopeless position? But the fellow keeps losing and losing and comes to a point where the scoreboard reads 0-9, and he is still confident because he has read a lot of motivational stuff. He has heard a lot of motivational speakers. He says now it is 0-9, but I can still win. Of course you can still win. But is it not important to firstly ask yourself, what are the odds now? And why have I made it so difficult for myself? And if I indeed have it in me to win from this position, with the odds so heavily against me, why did I first of all let this position come? So you are obviously not in touch with yourself. You are just fantasizing about yourself. You are grossly overestimating your capacity. And what helps maintain your delusion is that rare occurrence, 1 in 1,000 times, when you do indeed manage to pull one back from a 0-9 position. That happens in one game out of 1,000. Just one game. But the ego is always searching for that one game only. The ego will forget 999 defeats and remember that one game when it was able to win a game in spite of being 0-9 down. The memory of that one game keeps your false confidence alive. Then you repeatedly keep slipping to 0-9 positions. It's 0-3. You say it's not yet too bad. I can win even from 0-9 position. It's 0-5. And you still refuse to wake up. Oh, I can still do it. 0-7. You are still unaffected. Your confidence is still not shaken. 0-8, 0-9, nothing. And now that it is 0-9, now you say, it's time for me to perform. Unfortunately, too late to perform. You have gone so far behind. Some things must just not be lost. After they are lost, recovery is proportionally difficult to the depth of the loss. Are you getting it? The deeper the loss, the more difficult is the recovery. But at the same time, the deeper the loss, the more heroic is the recovery. And because the ego is looking for heroism, so it lets the loss happen so that it may get an opportunity for heroism. That opportunity is extremely costly.
But in that situation, how to kill that ego should not come? We should accept it, or what would
We just talked about it. We said it depends on the depth of love you have for your true self.
then my main question would be, when you say love yourself, what exactly it means?
I said the depth of love you have for your true self. Do you like remaining in pain, restlessness, anxiety? That's it. Many of us like that. If you do not like it, how would you tolerate it? I'm asking. If you do not like it, how would you tolerate it?
The situation is like this. I need to see those situations. The position would be I accept it. That means I did not like myself. Or I say go.
You need to have an absolute dislike for anxiety and fear and suspicion. The moment they arise, an alarm should go off. The moment they arise, you must know that something unsavory has happened. And if you can catch those things early, then you won't let them grow further. But to catch them early, you must detest them absolutely. I just cannot tolerate living in jealousy. And I find jealousy raising its ugly head. That prompts me, return to the center. That does not prompt me to kill jealousy, mind you. Jealousy is doing its own thing. That prompts me to return to the center. I can't get carried away. Jealousy has momentum. If I don't return to my home, jealousy will carry me along. And I'm not liking it because tension is not my natural state. Jealousy is not my natural state. Suspicion and fear are not my natural state. The moment they arise, I must say, not good for me, not good for me, not good for me. It's not just a mosquito bite. It might be dengue. Not good for me. Appears small, appears tolerable, but I better not tolerate it.
Same happens with laziness. If there is work and if you immediately don't dive into the work, then every minute
It gets progressively worse and more difficult to recover.
if you are sitting, then you lie down.
Yes. But again, the ego looks for heroism. The ego looks for superhuman effort. Don't you see how you idolize all the supermen? So the fellow plays an impossible shot. The fellow comes to your rescue always when the chips are down. Just when you are about to hit the ground, that helpful hand comes and rescues you, saves you. But nobody asks, why did I get myself in such a bad position first of all, that I had to be rescued this way? Very, very bad positions are necessary so that supermen can flourish. If there are no catastrophes, who will worship all the supermen? So what do? You turn yourself into a catastrophe so that you can become your own superman. Now the catastrophe is real. It becomes the fact of your life. And the superman never arrives. Or if he arrives once in 1,000 times. Not worth it. Not worth it. You are relying too much on a fickle friend. He is not at all dependable. 0-9 down. How many games can you win?
When we generally read the books, I read the books and most of the time it is written as acceptance is the main criteria to live the life. But real situation when comes, I accept it, but my ego come up and say what you are doing, and it breaks everything.
Which books are you reading? There are more books than there are men. And we know that the majority of men are not worth meeting. Which books are you reading? I haven't read any book that says accept it. You see these gentlemen here and the ladies? None of them ever said accept it. They were rather rebels. They said don't accept. Just because something is printed on paper, it doesn't become valuable. Hmm? But it's the old tendency, especially in India. Even if a cigarette wrapper is lying on the ground and you step on it, then you touch the feet of the cigarette wrapper. Because it is paper and something is written on it. You say, Vidya ke paँव पड़ रहे हैं. Hmm? Don't read bad books.
So what is the alternative?
Good
we are
books.
Buddhism, but when you say we should not accept it, then rebel is also not the thing.
Read good books. Bad books have filled your mind with a lot of bad details. So you'll have a lot of questions to ask. Hmm? First, read a few good books so that we may at least have good questions. Hmm? These are, my friends, some of the authors I suggest. Hmm? And there are some books on display outside. After the session, Rohit will ensure that yes, Bantu. Now Bantu is extremely pricky about mosquitoes. He has been scratching at all the unmentionable places.
So the two conditions we are talking here, the first one who certainly gets the sign very quickly, and the second one who come to zero line. I find myself in both the situation. Sometimes here, sometimes there. So it sometimes takes 2 to 3 days to cope up. I am unable to point out what the problem is, but it is certain that something is bad.
If you can even say that something is bad, then you will at least stop. Hmm? You are riding a car. You are riding a car. And alien, funny sounds are emerging from somewhere. Hmm? As if somebody is beating a guitar on somebody's head. That kind of musical noise. Now you do not know exactly from which part of the car is the noise arising. What will you do?
Stop.
You will stop the car. Even if you don't know exactly what is wrong with the car, at least you will lose the confidence to continue moving with speed. So stop. Even if you do not precisely know what is going wrong, if you find that there is a lot of noise and agitation, stop. Having stopped, now you can probably investigate better. Or at least slow down. when there appears a problem with the electrical circuit in one part of the house, the voltage seems to be rising dangerously, or you smell some smoke, what do? You don't just switch off that part because you are yet not sure about what is really happening. You go and
Turn off the full light.
the mains. You switch off the mains. Switch off the mains. The ego is the mains. If you find something is going wrong, and if you can't really precisely diagnose what is going wrong, then just go to the mains and pull the lever. Stop everything. Because if fire starts in one part, it will very rapidly spread to the other parts as well. Don't wait for the fire to consume everything. Be a little smart. Means